Hey, you're a maniac on the floor, and you're working like you've never worked before. So, thanks for clicking on my channel and click that subscribe button. That's like step two. You click on the channel first, and then you click subscribe, and we're off. I'm John Stark from BackTheMovieGuy.com, and obviously, when you look at me, big hairy guy, there are not enough middle-aged white male critics on YouTube, so I'm glad to fill that void. And I am blind though, so that makes me slightly different. I'm a slightly different flavor of that. But I am going to review Flashdance. Yeah, we're gonna review Flashdance. This is available on Paramount Plus right now. This is also kind of me banking a review, so it's also may not be available on Paramount Plus by the time you actually see this. But I like to bank reviews just in case, because I never know when I'm going to be busy. So, who knows when you'll actually see this, but Flashdance is currently on Paramount Plus and has audio description. I want to give a shout out to Paramount Plus because I crap on them a lot. I do. They had a terrible rollout with Showtime where they decided to add the service before they had any audio description ready for it, which dramatically reduced their overall percentage of audio described content, and they were bitches about it, trying to get any sort of answers or content or contact out of them. Just was a nightmare for months. I just hated it, and but here, this is how life should be. I did not check the audio description project, by the way, which all of you blind and visually impaired people should check out. It's adp.acb.org. It is a ongoing, constantly updated list of what has audio description and where you can find it, like on what service. Or physical media. It even has DVDs. Like, can you go buy the DVD? Sure. I didn't check the list. I just hit Paramount Plus. I went down to Leaving Soon, and I was like, which one of these Leaving Soon movies do I want to see the most? And I clicked Flashdance because I've never seen it. It is celebrating a 40th anniversary this year. I know that because I was born in 1983 also. So I'm exactly the same age of this movie. So that was another reason I chose it. And lo and behold, it had audio description. And that's how life should be. That is the future that I dream for my blind and visually impaired community, is that we don't have to have something like the audio description project because we just click on something and it has audio description. And we can actually just make choices like sighted people can. So that was a beautiful moment. I did not expect that. I was like, Flashdance is 40 years old. This probably doesn't have audio description, but what the hell? Let's see. Let's see if it does. It's considered popular enough. Maybe they did. Cool. And then I watched it, and then I really just don't understand why this is a classic. I don't understand how, but then again, I feel like as I get older, I'm going to end up having to explain a lot of films from my time to people. I feel like somebody's going to come along and be like, can you explain The Fast and the Furious to me? Like, why? I'm gonna be like, cars? I don't know. Vin Diesel? I got nothing on that. So yeah, this was big in the 80s, and I will admit, it has a banger soundtrack, but there are a lot of films that can go out and they can pay for like a really awesome soundtrack, and the film can be absolutely terrible, but yeah, the soundtrack is amazing, and you're just like, wow, this is the soundtrack of my life right now. So Flashdance has one of the most memorable soundtracks of all time, I would say. If all of those songs that I just heard in the movie appear on the soundtrack, which I assume they do, then it's like The Bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an iconic soundtrack. So that's one of the reasons. But that should not be the only reason you like a movie. I posted on my own social media, and I said, so guys, what's up? For those of you I was born the year this thing came out, so I didn't get to experience the Flashdance phenomenon. Uh, what was it about this film that made it so damn popular? Why has this stood the test of time? From the generation above me, why are you guys pushing this thing? And basically, the answers were the music, the dancing, and Jennifer Beals. Nobody was really like, man, that was a really good movie with great acting. The plot was great. Somebody just said it had a really simple plot that was easy to take, and it was, representative of the working class. And I was like, but you didn't say it was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody has actually told me this movie is good. Not a single person was like, what are you talking about? This film is good. This is a great film. It's an all-time classic. And it's a little disconcerting because I will say this is directed by Adrian Lyne. For those of you who don't know, because I didn't know, it doesn't feel like an Adrian Lyne film, but this is, I guess, Adrian Lyne getting his feet wet. And I mean, if you look at some of the stuff Adrian Lyne has made later on in his life, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of flavor in here for Adrian Lyne, but it feels way more like Joe Esterhaus, who has like a story by credit here. It feels way more like something he would do. So that didn't surprise me at all, to hear his name. I was like, oh, that explains a lot. This film does not have a great Metacritic score, but it has a higher IMDb score than what you would normally see of something that has that Metacritic score. So like I said, this is something that is more liked by people than critics. This is like Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. It's like one of those. It's one of those that Tommy Boy, but it's not a comedy. Like, we make that kind of excuses for comedies all the time because, of course, critics are going to hate them. They're going to think they're stupid because they're supposed to be stupid. So, I don't, and I'm a critic because I've evolved enough to understand that you're just supposed to enjoy those comedies as is. However, a lot of critics, but Siskel and Ebert, or Ebert and Roeper, would have hated those. So, yeah, but Flashdance. So, dancing, music, and Jennifer Beals. No great direction, no great camera angles, nothing else anybody defended. Just that's it. And yes, it does. It has a killer soundtrack. Jennifer Beals is all right, so I assume a lot of that had to do with her hotness. I did get a lot of guys that responded. Some girls responded. A lot of guys, which is really odd for this film, but maybe not. I don't know. And yeah, that's it. So the audio description for that is fine. The dancing is written from somebody who doesn't understand dancing. So it's just a lot of like movement description, which is, it makes it more accessible. I think true dancers would be annoyed because they expect people to be using dance terminology. The whole story does revolve around her wanting to become an official, like, legit dancer because she's tired of being a stripper, and for some reason a steelworker. I don't know. It's Pittsburgh, so they were just like, everyone's a steelworker in Pittsburgh on their free time when they're not doing the other job. What do you, elementary school teacher and steelworker? This is what we do. Surgeon and steelworker, But yeah, once she wants to break out of that life, she was probably, at the end of the movie, we don't actually get to see her future, but her future is probably ballerina and steelworker. After that, they're like, well, you didn't leave Pittsburgh, so we still require you to work in the steel industry. So get your ass down there and blast some steel. But it makes for some interesting scenes. There are definitely some dance moments that are really cool set to songs. And I guess that's really all we can ask for. I mean, that's essentially what So You Think You Can Dance is, are numbers set to pop songs. And that show ran for like 15 seasons. So, um, who can begrudge that? I mean, the formula works. There's a formula there, and it works. And with audio description for blind people, we do get a taste of that. It's not nearly as interesting, having been on both sides, as it would be to actually see it. I mean, I've seen some clips from Flashdance, so I understand sort of what that looks like. And there are some comments, by the way, because I know her iconic look is one of the other things. She did kind of help to create a little bit of a fashion trend. And there are comments in the audio description that refer directly to how she looks, how she wears her clothes and her leg warmers and stuff like that. So that is there as well. Everyone in this film is a terrible actor, but Jennifer Beals. I don't know where the fuck they found the rest of this cast, but there's a reason why I haven't heard of any of them since then. Yeah, I'm gonna throw everyone under the bus. Every single person in this cast is terrible. They're all like TV actors that got elevated to film, and they're like 80s TV actors, so they're coming off of things like Manic or something. I don't know, but it's just, they just, none of them, they're like, hey, yeah, come over here, come talk to me. And I'm like, oh, god damn it. It's just like, everybody's just like with this really like over-affected, like, hey, sweetie, what's up? why don't you want to come, why don't you want to come over here? I got some stuff for you over here, man. I don't know. It's a lot of like really just overly enunciated, dramatically weird. I don't know what they're trying to do with this character type stuff. And it's kind of pervasive. There's this one guy that's pursuing a career as a stand-up comedian who's not funny at all. Like, at all. And I think that's the point. But even when he kind of starts to get laughs, and this isn't like a Miss Maisel situation, you know, where he gets up on stage and he like just starts pointing things out. He just still feels awkward. Like, yeah, everyone in this film. The less dialogue they have, the better they are. So I appreciate the people who have like one line of dialogue. Like, I don't know. There's the lady that keeps checking her in at the dance facility, and she basically she says the same thing. She's like, fill out this paperwork and return it. Make sure to list your dance schools on there, then return it. She's just very limited dialogue, so she's like the second best actress in this thing. It is not good. I also understand it helps Jennifer Beals stand out, because you're like, God, thank God Jennifer Beals is here. And she's actually, she actually understands how to speak in a film, in a manner. This also is just, my God, the degradation of the soundtrack is just awful. Were there microphones during filming? Some of these actors are so quiet that I'm like, were they using like one microphone for a room? What was this, an independent budgeted film and they could only afford one microphone? So they were like, just hold it above all the actors and we'll just get ambient noises. Sometimes people are so hard to hear because they're clearly not mic'd, but they're like near a microphone, you know? The sound design in this is so weird. And I know it's been 40 years and there's sound degradation in terms of, that's the problem with film. Film is beautiful, but it does degrade over time if you don't take care of it, if you don't preserve it, if you don't restore it. I don't think anybody's really that concerned about the restoration of Flashdance, but if we're going to keep considering this thing a classic, we should at least try to give it the best release we can, because there are films from around the same time period that sound a lot better because we've decided to take care of the films. Films, you know, like, I don't know, the Indiana Jones franchise, Star Wars, Alien, you know, I mean, there's a whole bunch of films from right around this same period of time that their sound is much better. Flashdance sounds like they didn't have the budget, and they had like they didn't have enough microphones for the whole cast. So it's one of those weird. They have some like old stage musicals that are recorded when you go back far enough, where clearly they don't have enough mics for everybody, and you'll hear somebody in the ensemble in an ensemble number that's recorded who's clearly not mic'd and is just shouting from the back of wherever, just shouting their line of dialogue in the middle of a song, like, yes, that's what we need to do. Because it's like, it's the professional recording, and they don't have microphones. Yeah. So that's basically, that's the long and short of Flashdance. It's a mind-boggling movie to me. I can't say I totally hated it, because it's kind of light and fluffy fun, but to elevate this, I watched Top Gun last year for the first time in preparation for Top Gun Maverick, and I was ready for the 80s cheesy goodness, and that was cheesy goodness in a very entertaining way that I felt worked. This is cheesy in a way that I'm not really sure works. This is that like off-brand macaroni and cheese, where the powder is not real cheese and it kind of congeals, and you're like, I don't know what this is, but I'll eat it. Yeah, it's that. It's not perfect, but I probably have insulted everybody's childhoods. But it seems like this is one of those films where nobody can really come up with an actual reason as to why this film is good, other than the sound and the dances. Those are not plot. Those are not character. Those have absolutely nothing to do with the technical quality of this film. It's not acting. It's nothing. None of that. You've described none of that to me. So, yeah. I mean, I live in shame because there are a few classic films that I don't like already. So I was a little trepidatious to come in here and admit, guys, I'm sorry, I don't like Flashdance. I hope that's okay. But after speaking to some people who really couldn't come up with a reason other than Jennifer Beals is hot and she can dance and it has a great soundtrack, I feel a little bit better about saying, maybe this is a little bit overinflated. Maybe we've just made this a little bit hotter than it actually is. So, with all that said, this is going to be a one and done. I don't need to see Flashdance again. Although I probably, if I ever get a chance to see Flashdance the musical, because we made this into a musical, I'll probably end up watching that. But I won't watch this movie again. I'm going to give Flashdance a C-. Yeah, but congratulations on 40 years of managing to stand the test of time, regardless of what people think about you. I mean, if you love Flashdance, good for you. I love a lot of randomly stupid films that I have to defend all the time. So, by all means, I mean, I don't mind anybody loving this film. I wasn't around for it. I don't understand the craze. So, this is just me saying this is what the film is like now, and it has audio description. So, check it out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I have a website, macmovieguy.com. You can go to the audio description project. As I said previously, you can also go to Twitter, Instagram, or Threads and follow me there at macmovieguy. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org, where you can look up your favorite films and television series and see who's narrating or working on the narration for them. That's it. I will review something else for you guys and see you on the other side.